With this video, we're going to be testing a lot of different ways you can access the internet from your home. Now, we've already done cell phones, see another video on that, but with this one we're going to be using a cell phone as a tether to access the internet on a personal computer, but we're also going to test routers, modems, Wi-Fi, wireless mouse, maybe we'll get to printers, and laptop computers. Again, this is about using the internet. Okay, so first of all, let's start out what we got set up here. Here we have, and these things are all off right now, the printer, computer, cell phone, the wireless mouse, and the modem. These are all shut off right now. And what we're going to do to demonstrate that is we're going to do a background reading first. We're going to turn on the acoustometer. In all cases, we're going to be going with 5-minute tests on the acoustometer, and it's going to be sped up 40 times its normal speed. So first of all, let's just get a background reading to show you what we have here with everything off. Okay, after 5 minutes, the highest we ever got was 0.35. Now, we are not that far from a smart meter. I'd say about 10 feet from a smart meter, and based on what I was seeing, I believe that's what I was seeing here. We're going to have to deal with it. I have no other choice because my cable coming into the internet is right here, and they're always they try to have to ground the systems, and so they try to go to an electrical box. And so anyway, that's probably what we're seeing here. Now it's actually at 0.38. So, but what we're going to do here now is this is the plug, the power plug for the modem. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this in, and you can watch what happens. But because it takes several minutes, 3 to 5 minutes for this thing to power up completely, what we're going to do is we're going to speed up the tape. Now that has turned to a solid blue, the manufacturer says when this light turns to a solid blue, it is ready to go. And you'll see during that time period, about over 3 minutes, almost 4, it took, it went to 6.0. It spiked up, that's the highest it goes. It went to 6.0. So now what we're going to have to do to conduct, what we're going to do now is we're just leave the modem on. Now the reason it probably spiked, I'll tell you this later, I'll demonstrate this later, but this modem actually has a built-in Wi-Fi, built-in router. But right now, the router system is off. We're going to show you that. But first of all, let's reset the acoustometer and reset our timer, and we're going to test this for 5 minutes with just the modem on, nothing hooked up to this Ethernet cable, nothing hooked up. Well, the antenna in is right here, the internet, and the power is hooked up, but nothing else is on this router right now, this router / modem. So let's start and do a 5-minute test just with the thing in idle mode. All right, after 5 minutes, you see we're at 0.38. 0.38, and I think it's about the exact same thing it was as background on RF radiation. So, as you can see, a modem in this standby mode basically produces no additional background RF. Okay, so we're going to leave this on the table, but we're going to move over now to a computer that is currently off. Now the computer, you saw another little spike there. This is just a cord for a cell phone. We're going to turn the computer on, and you'll watch. Now, we were about 6 inches away from the modem when we tested that, the top of the modem. We're about almost a foot away to the top of the computer here from the acoustometer. So just give you an idea. We're going to power it on, but right now the computer, let's go ahead and turn it on, I'll explain. Turning on the computer, it is plugged in, it's not battery. In this case, this personal computer is hooked up to the power grid. And let's just see what happens, and we're going to do a 5-minute test on the computer. But the computer is in Wi-Fi, has Wi-Fi shut off, and the computer also is in airplane mode at this moment. I ensured that before we started the test. So, as you see, powering up the computer essentially did nothing to spike. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clear this, and we're going to reset the acoustometer, and we're going to do a 5-minute test like this to see what kind of information you're going to get off of the computer itself. Let's start that again. Acoustometer on, and start. After 5 minutes of the computer just being on, we're reading, again, 0.34. So the computer on itself doesn't appear, without using it, doesn't appear to add any RF whatsoever to the general background radiation. So what we're gonna speed this up whenever we can. I'm gonna put this on Wi-Fi mode. Okay, computer is logged in now, and as you see, it didn't change, still 0.34. We're gonna have to reset these things. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put it on airplane. I'm sorry, take it out of airplane mode and let you see what happens and reset this. And you may not be able to see this, but let's see if we can put it close enough where maybe you can see. We're going to put it on. So as you see, right now, the Wi-Fi is off. Airplane mode is on. So we're going to turn on. Let me turn on the acoustimeter. Let's see if anything spikes when we do this. Okay, we're going to turn on, rather, airplane mode off, meaning computer is accessible. And then, so nothing seemed to happen. Then we're going to turn Wi-Fi on. And already, you see, it's just spiked a lot. So, what we're going to do next is to set this up about how we had it before. And we're going to test it for 5 minutes with the Wi-Fi on. But before we do that, now see it spiked at 3.44 when we did that. Now let's turn this off and back on, and we're going to do a 5-minute test with the computer now in Wi-Fi mode enabled, but the router is not on. So you can see the difference here, if there's any. After 5 minutes, you did see a spike a couple times. 4.40. I assume, although I don't know, it's probably searching for a Wi-Fi network. And there is one here visible from a distance, but it's only got 1 bar or sometimes 0 bar, so it's just barely there. But obviously the computer does send out a little bit of a spike, apparently looking for a signal, as it just did there, 4.40. Now what I'm going to do next, and we're going to turn this off and back on so you can see any spikes while we're doing this. We'll speed the video up. What we're going to do is I'm going to have to switch on this particular router in order to turn on the router. Now the router on this is built in. The router and modem is one and the same. There is a built-in router in it which produces the Wi-Fi signal that could be used wirelessly. But that's still off. In order to turn that on, we're going to have to plug in the Ethernet cable into the computer, and we're going to have to log in. Okay, what I'm doing now is I have the computer on, we have Ethernet cable hooked up, but we aren't hooked up to Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi on the router is off, and the Wi-Fi mode is disabled in the computer itself. And now what we're going to do is we're going to play a video for 5 minutes, and we're going to see what this looks like. Let's turn on, the video's playing now, some channel name Forbid TV. Turn on the acoustimeter, and we're going to play this for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we are at 0.28 volts per meter, volts per meter. Now, the question will arise, and we're going to try this. We're going to elevate this computer. It's still playing. And we're going to put it right near the sensor. Right near the sensor. As if, for instance, you had the computer in your lap, let's say. Like a laptop. Well, they don't call them laptops anymore, and that may be one of the reasons. But anyway, now the computer is directly up to there, and let's go ahead and turn this off and back on. We're going to do 5 minutes with the computer about as close as I can get to the acoustimeter. Now, this is probably going to be a function of electromagnetic signals or magnetic fields, but let's go ahead and try this anyway for 5 minutes. We'll see what happens. After 5 minutes, you'll see there's essentially no difference. 0.19 with the computer playing a video hooked up to Ethernet. Now, that would be a safe bet to say that as far as RF is concerned, you're probably plenty safe from RF using the Ethernet cable. Okay, so now the next test is going to be a little more interesting. We're going to have to go, and we'll just speed everything up, but we're going to go and we're going to turn on the router portion of the modem, but we have to go online to do that. Okay, and now I'm ready to turn on the Wi-Fi portion. We're going to do a couple things. We're going to start it, but let's reset this so that you can see what happens, how it spikes or what happens. We got it set to from disabled to mixed on the router, make it difficult. Pro tip: if you're designing equipment, just put a damn button on the modem so you can turn the Wi-Fi on and off. Anyway, here we go. We're going to turn on the Wi-Fi now officially. And it says, please wait while your settings are saved. And obviously it's doing something now. Now once the settings are saved, I'm going to unplug the Ethernet so that we're only getting a signal through the Wi-Fi, so we aren't mixing them up. But as you saw, the Ethernet really doesn't produce any RF. Okay, it now says my settings have been successfully saved. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the Ethernet cable. And hopefully we won't lose our video, because our video is already up there on the internet. So now let's go to the video and we'll start playing the video. But before we do that, well, the video is still playing actually. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to reset this thing and we're going to go for 5 minutes with the video playing in only Wi-Fi mode, with the router about 4 feet away from the actual PC, as you might have it on your desk at home. After about 5 minutes, 2.26 volts per meter peak. Now this is about 1 foot away from the computer that's on with Wi-Fi, the router about 4 feet away, and about 1 foot away from the actual computer itself. Okay, the next segment of the test is going to be using Wi-Fi at a more reasonable distance from the router to see the difference. Presently the router is still on. The router is still on, which is in the modem. And we're in a different room. We're actually 30 feet away from where we were. And the signal, in order to get here, is going to have to go through 4 wood-framed walls. So 30 feet away, 4 wood-framed walls. We're going to turn on the acoustimeter, and we're going to get a background reading. The computer itself is completely off. Completely off, but it is plugged into the wall. And we'll do this for 5 minutes. So the background radiation at this location is at 0.37 peak volts per meter. We're going to turn on the computer right now and set it up to play a video. Okay, we're set up now finally. 1.9 is where we peaked during that time period. Already got a video starting here right now, and we're going to do this test for 5 minutes. Again, we're about 30 feet away from the router, and we're going through 4 walls, 4 wood-framed walls for 5 minutes, as if you were watching a video, with your head only 1 foot away from the computer screen. After 5 minutes, 2.15. 2.15. Next, we're going to try experimenting with a wireless mouse. And to save you time, we will set this up, speeding up. Okay, it took me a long time to set it up, but I finally got it. Never used a wireless mouse before. This is all borrowed equipment, folks, except for the video camera. All right, now what we're going to do is we're just basically going to, well, see, I'm using my fingers on the pad again, and we don't want to do that. So I'm just, force a habit, obviously, got to get used to using this mouse. What we're going to do, and I don't know if this surface is going to be sufficient to make this mouse work, but I'm just going to reset the acoustimeter, and we're going to just click from video to video and see what the signature is, if it's any different. Because as you see, it's peaked to 4.26. So let's shut this off and back on. We're going to do this for 5 minutes. We're just going to keep clicking on different videos and see what it does. After 5 minutes of using the mouse, the wireless mouse, 4.63. And it didn't seem to do much while I'm actually using it, changing. Wireless keyboards, although I don't have one here to test today, put out a little spike each time you hit a key. Now, one last test, and that'll be with the cell phone tether. So let's get that set up. Powering up the cell phone right now. because the next part of the test, let me explain while this is powering up. I may have to speed up anyway. This is how I get online when I need to use the computer, when I'm on the road. If I need to get on the internet, and I need to get in a remote area where I have no Wi-Fi that I can get to, say a public Wi-Fi, I use something. The app I'm using is called PDA Net Plus. I'm not promoting it necessarily, but it's just the one I use. I have the phone hooked up. I'm going to be plugging it into the computer now. And this is how I do it when I get on as a tether. And you'll see the acoustimeter is reacting because the phone is powering up now. And basically, I think I can leave it on, leave the Wi-Fi mode off on the computer. And I can go to my app and open the app. And I can go to USB tether. See what happens. Okay. Now it's in USB tether. Now what I have to do is wait for it to show up on my computer so I can click it on. Okay, now it's showing up on my computer. So what I can do is I can click it on right now. And I think I clicked it before it disappeared. Device attached. Okay, connect. Connecting to your phone. Verifying phone. Internet connected. Okay, now I'm on the internet via a cell tower instead of a Wi-Fi or an Ethernet cable. So let's go and play a video and see what happens. Let's get rid of some of these things on the screen here. We're going to do this test for 5 minutes, of course, just like all the other ones. And we'll see how much RF radiation we're getting through the cell phone. And we'll reset the acoustimeter, although we have to do that. And we shall start. It is on. The phone is on, and we're connected to the app, PDA Net Plus, and now we're going to start playing a video. And we're going to set the timer. There you have it. 0.40 right at the very end there. 0.40. That's where it ended up. 5 minutes using the tether, the phone, as a hotspot, or using the cell tower signals to use data to play a video, which is still playing. So that's about it for this. Check the playlist below in the description box for other testing of various consumer products for RF emission.